Tony Rose Morning Show, 100.7 Sam FM, real music variety in the morning. Good morning, Kara.
Good morning, Tony Rose.
And David in the house hanging out as well. How you doing, man?
I'm doing it.
And on the line with us, here's the thing. When I need it, I get it. I do two things. I make problems, I solve problems.
That's good.
And the World Cup, of course, starting up here this Thursday. And I've got on the line with me my soccer insider, my World Cup insider. We call him Soccer Steve. Good morning, Steve. How you doing, man?
Good morning, everyone. How are you, mate?
I'm doing good.
He called us mate. That is so cool.
Yeah, Kara just got a little giggly over here, I believe. There, Steve.
I did.
You have that effect on
Well, that was my intention, so I'm good.
Yeah. All right. Now, you're from where are you from? England, right? Originally.
From England, yes, sir.
Now, describe. Now, what part of England? Like, I mean, if England was the U.S., you from the north, south? Explain exactly where in the country you're from there.
Well, I'm actually from the south coast. I'm from directly south of London, but sort of England's sort of upside down from the U.S. in that the Northerners are in the south and the Southerners are in the north. You know, all our country folk are up north.
Yeah. So, well, hey, let's talk. Okay, so big soccer fan, of course. Let's talk about the World Cup starting up today. I guess it's like explain a little bit exactly why is the World Cup so popular? Like, why is this like the NCAA tournament of soccer? I guess to true soccer fans out there.
Well, I think throughout the world, except the United States, it's the biggest sport. It's sort of a religion throughout the world, and this is the culmination of sort of 4 years of trying to get there, and it's the biggest tournament. You know, it's sort of the Olympics of soccer, and every other country except the U.S. is really into it. So it's just a big, huge event.
Well, because we're pompous divas here. That's why.
I don't know why the sport never really took hold. So you just decided to invent your own and went about your own way, and that's
Take our
fine.
ball and go home is what we'll do. Hey, well, let's talk about it. Who are the? Okay, first of all, for the folks who are going to be watching probably a lot more soccer than they ever have, who are some of the teams that are the really good teams? Who are the powerhouses in the World Cup that we're going to hear a lot about here over the next couple of weeks?
Okay, well, it's probably the typical ones that are always good are Brazil, Argentina,
right.
Italy won it last time in 2006. They're always good. England always kind of have a shout, but we usually lose on penalty kicks at some point.
Right.
Germany's always good. Holland are good this year.
Right.
The USA actually isn't terrible. They're
Really?
in the same group as England, of course. No, they're not a bad team at all. And I'm a little worried about them on Saturday, to be honest.
I was going to say England and the U.S., they play Saturday afternoon. And by the way, they can hear that game on our sister station, ESPN 1450 AM. I have to plug that. I think the FCC requires that. I don't know. Anyway, so the U.S. is pretty good this year. Who are some of the star players? I mean, who are some of the names that might become more household names over the next few weeks?
Well, you're testing me there. I'm not great on the U.S. team. I'll name you the England team.
Okay,
but I know they have Landon Donovan, Clint Howard, Clint Dempsey, Tim Howard is the goalkeeper. Those guys actually play in England, and so they have some experience playing against some really good players. And they for the last 2 or 3 tournaments they've done really well, and they're kind of a dark horse team that a lot of people are thinking could go far,
right.
Myself included. So
what about your guys, the England team there? Who are some of the superstars on that team?
Well, there's Wayne Rooney. He's kind of an ugly-looking pitbull dude up front, and he's a great player, but he's not much to look at.
That actually describes this morning show as well, right here. We're a bunch of great players, but we're ugly to look at. Well, Kara's not. I am actually. David's a good-looking guy here, but no, anyway. Yeah. Anyway, now who are some of the other guys on there?
Well, there's Lampard and Gerrard, and the England captain actually got injured, Rio Ferdinand, so he's not going to be there.
Right.
John Terry. They're a pretty good squad this year, but England always tends to let me down. To be honest, Tony, they leave me in tears most of the time.
Really? What is it about them? I mean, what breaks your heart here?
There's such expectation. If you ever get the chance to go to England during a World Cup, there's such expectation because it's our national sport that we sort of invented back in the day, and we always seem to lose to Germany on penalty kicks or someone. We have a really heartbreaking story in what the David Beckham back in '98 got one of the reasons he got really famous is he got sent off in one game.
I thought it was that Spice Girls thing. That's what I would go.
Well, that helped, but you know,
right.
But if you're a dude, he got famous for that. You know, but he got sent off, and he was a national villain for a while. You know, he was kind of derided by the press and stuff. But but yeah, we're usually a hard luck story.
Now, who are the teams that you know, like around here, everybody seems to hate, like the Duke Blue Devils? You know what I mean? If you're a Kentucky guy, a Kentucky fan, or whatever, who are some of the teams that we should just automatically just hope that their teeth fall out or something? Like, who are the teams that we need to
I'd go with Germany.
Really?
Personally, well, they always beat us, you know, and they've won it a couple of times. England did win it back in the '60s, but you know, I don't remember that. But Germany, I don't know for the U.S. I don't, you know, Canada aren't there. Mexico are there. I guess you could cheer against them being your neighbors.
Yeah.
But I did hear you talking on the show saying that Mexico were, you know, a really good team, and in my opinion, the U.S. is a better team than Mexico.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Now, okay, if I was a betting man, okay, which my last name is Rose, so yeah, I am. Who are like who would be like the, I guess, a wild card maybe if somebody was going to go to Vegas, you know, if they're into that sort of bet there, who would be like a dark horse wild card Cinderella team that might surprise somebody?
You know, If I was a U.S. citizen, which I'm not yet, but I would possibly go USA.
Yeah.
That's a hard one to call, to be honest. I've heard a few people saying Australia, although I can't believe that myself. Actually, have a decent side. I haven't seen them much.
Yeah. That sounds more like you just don't like Australia to me. Is what it sounds like.
No, they're okay. You know, a nation of criminals, but I'm sure they can play a little bit.
That's good. Is there any like one name players that we need to like an Alejandro or a Pele or a Enrique or something like that we need to keep an eye out for, Steve?
There's a guy for Portugal who's called Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Who Enrique would probably be a big fan of.
I love it. So England and
Google it.
Ronaldo. I'm going to look that up. Actually, Enrique, I think Enrique is already googling that or doing something with coconut oil to that one. England and the U.S. Saturday afternoon. And real quick, so people don't look dumb around the office. You said Canada didn't even have a team in this thing, right?
Well, no, they didn't qualify. No.
And who else was it? What about Scotland? Did they have a team?
Scotland didn't make it.
Okay, so that's so don't drop those names and try to sound smart, or you'll get looking real dumb around some soccer fans there. So, hey, Steve, appreciate it. That was now I feel like I know what I'm talking about a little bit now.
I do too.
With soccer, so England U.S. on Saturday afternoon on ESPN Radio. There we can hear that one on TV as well. Hey, can we check back with you? Can you kind of like
absolutely,
because this thing lasts for what, like a year now, right? Soccer.
It does, yes. Yeah. Yes, we'll have beards by the time it's over.
I love it. Do you like a soccer beer like they do in hockey? You know, like a playoff beer. Do they do that in soccer as well, or what?
A beer?
No, like a beer. No, I'm sure there's plenty of beer.
Yeah.
No, like a beard, like a playoff beard. You
know,
like,
a playoff beard. Yeah, I should start growing one.
Yeah, I didn't know how that is. Yeah, and now
it won't last long with England.
Now I was gonna. There you go, or the U.S. Now, what about these soccer hooligans? Though we always hear about them. Do you see a lot of the hooliganism and stuff at these World Cup games?
I hope not. The World Cup is usually pretty good, pretty well behaved, and the hooliganism thing is sort of outdated now, and
really?
It's becoming more of a family game, and you know, people are starting to take their kids back to games, and you know, I can only really speak for England, but it's gotten a lot better because we were particularly bad there back in the the 80s and 90s. But that whole culture is, I think it's still around, but it's not like it was. You know, I'm hoping. I know South Africa has had its trouble, so I'm hoping it doesn't blow up again.
Yeah.
But we'll see. You know, you never know. You never know. People are passionate about it.
That's good stuff. Hey, I appreciate it, Steve. And let's check in. Can we check in next week, too, kind of get an update on everything?
Yeah, absolutely.
That is good stuff. That is good stuff right there. It's Soccer Steve right there, World Cup Insider.
I loved his accent.